Thanks for spending just a minute thinking about God's truth with me today. Today we focus on the truth of Matthew 5, verses 10 through 12. As Jesus concludes the beatitudes he started in verse 3, he brings up the topic of persecution. If we humble ourselves to be poor in spirit, if we mourn over our sin and become meek, if we're hungry and thirsty for righteousness, if we're merciful and pure in heart, if we are peacemakers, in other words, if we model the character and lifestyle the Lord has called us to, we are likely to be rejected by those who are unwilling to follow Jesus. And that brings us to these three verses at the end of the Beatitudes. Blessed are those persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. It's time to start the clock and break it down. Notice first that we're blessed if we're persecuted because of righteousness. We're not blessed if we're persecuted because we act like jerks. We're called to demonstrate God's love by loving all, including our enemies. But if we're walking obediently before the Lord, we can expect to be persecuted. In verse 11, Jesus describes the persecution. He talks about personal insults and people actively trying to cause harm, lying, and speaking all kinds of evil just because we follow Jesus. These are the kinds of things we can expect. But how should we react when these things occur? Verse 12, rejoice and be glad. Wow. Why? Because great is your reward in heaven. God is paying attention to those that suffer persecution for righteousness' sake. They will receive great reward in heaven. And Jesus makes the point. Persecution's nothing new. The prophets before us and even Jesus himself experienced the same things. Just like the poor in spirit at the beginning of the Beatitudes, those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake inherit the kingdom of heaven. So serve God faithfully today. If you're persecuted for it, rejoice and be glad. God's reward awaits. This is Pastor Scott saying thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me, it's right here. If you want us to talk to God for you, visit ipray.world. You can also visit the church website, but be sure to like or share or follow or subscribe. Every time you promote these videos, you help somebody else spend just a minute thinking about God's truth. God bless you.